UK services, Lavazzi and who1.co.uk present the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast.
Hello and welcome to the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast. Episode, oh blast, what was it now? 565, I believe. I'm Adam, and was I supposed to do a quote? Well, how about you, Robert?
Don't talk to them. They're silly.
That's Robert Haynes, everybody. Mary Lang.
Truth is singular. Lies are words.
Oh yeah, who's next? Oh yes, Debbie Melrose.
Madam Bastro was wondering if you need any grenades. She might have sent help.
And Kirby Bartlett Sloan.
My bustle is stuck. You thought I was going to say...
No, I didn't. Before you say it, you thought I was going to... Oh, I've got a comment come up, but I can't see it. Oh, I want to see that one. Whatever you were saying.
Your eyes.
No, it's not coming up on my screen, so I've got to change screens. Yes, this week we'll be looking at the proper introduction of Clara, because obviously the previous
only good episode
she was in was called Oswin. And this time, I've got a bling. Why does it say this side can't be?
She's called it Oswin on her gravestone.
Yeah, I know. What I'm saying is, this is the proper introduction of Clara, rather than the previous one where she was just a character.
Well, after this one, we thought that she was going to start doing Rory's every day.
Sorry, Adam, the comment is you are very quiet on the feed from Terry Miles.
Oh, no.
Well, I've turned it up again now. So there you go.
It's probably too loud now.
I think the problem is...
talking
right,
too loud.
Please let me explain, right? Because your audio is so loud, it's just blasted my microphone a little bit.
What, mine?
It
Sorry.
should gradually... No, the audio coming through the speaker, it was so loud, it's just blasted the microphones out a little bit. Anyway, stuff coming through on the live feed. We've got Terry Miles saying, Adam, you are very quiet on the feed. Lillian Robin saying hi. Billy Kirkbright saying... Hi everyone, I'm still in the UK but can't be bothered to come over and see you because I had such a rubbish time on the Isle of Wight last time. But I currently have no Wi-Fi, so I'll say hi and bye. By the way, I didn't like the Snowman episode.
He was up in my neck of the woods the other day, up round York.
Well, if he was right, and Terry Miles, it's okay now.
Oh, good.
Right, so the where the hell's there is the Snowmen. This is going to be tricky because of the fact that I've got to watch it on an iPlayer screen and I've got no control over the video. But it does begin. I'll do some flicking. Oh, I don't want the sound.
With some chompy snowflakes.
With some digital, chompy snowflakes, like
chompy
you said.
snowflakes.
Yes,
That's what I call
very
them.
fierce. The fiercest snowflakes you'll ever see. And then England 1842, which was interesting for me personally because the research I'm currently doing about my family is actually around 1842. So that was quite interesting personally for me.
Just face it, you're related to everybody.
Well, that's true, but I can actually trace exactly how. Right then, so this little boy is...
Inbreds in the Isle of Wight.
This little boy is just dusting down a stone feature that looks a little bit like a pawn on a chess set. That seems to be covered in snow a little bit, so he's just padding it down a little bit, because no way is anybody going to make a snowman
that looks snow to me.
Looks like that. And then Ian
Ian
McKellen starts speaking to him over some sound system, which wasn't very akin to 1842. Don't speak to David.
Then Gandalf turns up.
Silly. I just said Ian McKellen. That. Right, that's it. Where is my bell?
I'm still cleaning up all the tonic I've spilt everywhere. I'm sorry.
I'd love to know where my blimmin' bell. My bell's gone. That'll turn that one. That's probably on a pile of my stuff down there. Anyway, so yes, this is a creepy Ian McKellen voice, borrowed from some of the X-Men films. Says, "Don't speak to them. They're silly. They're silly." And then the next scene, there's a load of snowmen and a jar being filled up with some snow by a mysterious arm. And then the sign GI is closed on the carriage door. Again, these carriages are quite interesting.
Joe.
Because my ancestors drove carriages like that.
I love these carriages. They're really cool.
Yes.
And we've got the person who's played the Doctor twice non-canonically.
No, he played Loki. It's Richardy, Grant, who's
Richardy. He's in
Richardy.
does a very
remember, he's the one who went. He's Lick the Mirror handsome in the Mr. Bean version of Doctor Who.
cheers for that, Kirby. Yeah. But anyway, he doesn't smile much in this episode. Meanwhile, he's sorry. Hello? No? Okay. Meanwhile, he steps onto a balcony arrangement to address some what I presume are his staff who are moaning about money and food.
Peasants.
So he says
Peasants,
essentially their food. For something or other. Meanwhile, in a pub, this Cockney wench woman who is a little bit too good looking to be a wench, but there she is, picking up glasses. In the shape of Oswin Oswald, but obviously we find out later it's Clara. Next scene is the Doctor looking really cool in his top hat and bedraggled coat and glasses.
Have we had the title sequence yet?
No. Bumps into Clara and they have a bit of a flirt. He does look very beautiful.
Exactly.
He does look beautifully Dickensian, I have to say, as he's supposed to.
During this whole scene, she drops her shawl and it shows up again. She drops it again and it shows up again.
Okay, well, it's not her fault. She's just doing.
Lack the continuity person.
Blame Clara for absolutely everything that goes wrong in a scene, even the ones she's not in. Anyway, so there's a bit of flirting going on.
We will.
She's a bit feisty, Clara, and the Doctor goes off and she chases
Her teeth
after.
are too good for that era as well.
Yeah. Oh, too good looking, you mean?
Well,
Too good. Full stop. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Anyway,
there's the title sequence. And
shut up, Kirby.
God.
I haven't got to the title sequence yet. Anyway, so be honest, we actually could get to it, to be fair. So the Doctor rides off in his little carriage with Clara chasing behind, and then it's a title sequence, which is really cool.
Madam
Can I say something?
No.
no.
Moffat with this stupid Doctor Who.
Oh, I know. He's got an obsession with that.
Bonkers.
He did it for the whole.
Obsession.
From here on, there was lots of this.
I know.
He's already done it with.
I think they do it 3 or 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, but he's already done it with.
Episode.
With what's his name? Dorium. Dorium did it. What? I'm just saying that he did it with Dorium a lot in the last series. Oh, right. That's one.
Yes.
I've got no one to ping this last
My
about that.
goodness.
Faster?
Yes.
Faster.
No.
Do you all remember when we were watching this title sequence for the first time and we had the Doctor's face show up finally?
That's what I was just alluding to before you butted in, Kirby. Nobody's noticed that.
Before you.
Yeah. Nobody's noticed that Jenna Coleman's name's spelt wrong on the thing. It says Jenna Louise Coleman. Yeah, they put in an extra word.
That was what she was known as at the time.
No excuse. He does look a little bit like Peter Davison as his little smoky face goes past the screen.
It's very brief,
Anyway.
isn't it?
So then we're back in snowy, Christmassy.
I'm trying to remember when I first
Dickensian London.
noticed that it said great intelligence. Because now I've got this nice clear picture, and I don't think I had a clear picture then.
Right. And it had GI on the side of the coach. That was a clue.
General.
I also noticed that where the sorry,
It's not GI, it's GT.
GTI.
GI.
Oh,
It's GI.
No, I'm just.
no, it's GI.
No,
Great
it's
intelligence. GI. Looks like a T, but it's an I.
Joe.
Anyway, I also noticed that
It says great intelligence underneath.
Yes, okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Also,
Okay.
I didn't notice
All
that.
right.
What?
Well, I think I misread it as GT for the whole thing until I saw it.
It's the
I
I,
honestly
it's the
saw
I.
it as GT,
The
and then
I.
I realised it said great intelligence, and I went
Yeah.
through stills.
It's the way they done the eye, the top of the eye.
Enough about
Aye, aye.
font
Aye.
science. I did notice that the snow on the wheels looked very much like foam, because unlike a real snow, as the tops of the wheels wouldn't have that much snow on them, but these
Exactly.
ones have got magic sticky snow that stays on the wheels as they go around. And then where are we now? This house with that bloke who used to be in, was it Casualty or something like that. Who would have
Silent
made a good
Witness.
Casualty?
Who would have made a good Doctor? The chap with the beard.
Tom Ward.
That's the one. Yeah, I think he was touted to potentially be a Doctor.
He
and
was,
stuff,
yes.
He
yeah.
was.
Yeah.
But he was in.
He was in
God.
He was in
Casualty?
He was also. I first saw him in Pride and Prejudice, 1995. He's a bit actor in that as one of the
Oh, I
militia.
haven't seen that.
I can't remember what he was in though before this, but anyway.
Silent Witness.
Silent Witness, of course it was. Well done. What's your name again? Anyway, meanwhile, this really quite sexy sort of woman in a sort of Cockney accent turns up, who just happens to be dating a Silurian woman, or married to one, in fact. Married to one, and they sort of corner Richard.
Yeah,
have a little chat with him in the passage. Oh no, it's a back passage. I
You're
suppose.
a woman. I like that. Not that she's green or anything. Just
Yeah.
you're a woman.
Anyway, they have a bit of a boring chat with him. Meanwhile, the Doctor's checking the snow and finds it to be stage snow, and he's just telling Strax about it.
Yeah.
It's weird snow, this, Strax. It doesn't melt in your hand.
Funny that.
Even with his attempted, this is really real snow, so I'll flick it out of my hand. It doesn't come across as real. But what does come across as real is the comedy acting ability of David Starkey, who plays Strax, who extremely well written for this story. And obviously the on-screen banter with Matt Smith, who particularly likes doing comedy, and he hasn't really had a chance to do much comedy since Doctor Who, has he? Let's face it. Really sort of relishes it.
Epic in House of the Dragon.
Anyway, so the plan, because Clara's become a little bit too interested in the Doctor, is to give Clara the rubbery, not very very real-looking memory worm, which was probably made
with the 12th Doctor as well.
Yeah.
You get an extreme close-up on it later.
Was probably made by the same people that made the Merca back in the day. Just a lovely little sort of flashback to older Doctor Who. Anyway, the attempt to put the memory worm on Clara fails because it actually goes on Strax instead, and with comedy effect of the highest order. Yeah, so I'm not going to say what the comedy was, but it was really funny. But then they get accosted by some rather...
Been running by a cab.
By some funny-looking snowmen who breathe snow on them. And, then Doctor legs it again and still gets followed by Clara. He must have known she was following him, for God's sake. It was ridiculous. And he sneaks up to his invisible TARDIS in the sky, up a flight of invisible steps, and gets followed by a not-so-invisible Clara. And she sort of goes up there and watches him for a bit and gets rather sort of excited by the sight of sky that you can tread on, basically. And then
you can walk on a cloud. That would get me pretty excited.
Yeah, then the Doctor notices her, and she walks around the TARDIS, and no, that's later on, isn't it? No, she decides to go back down the step ladder.
She does go around.
She runs around.
Yeah, but she doesn't on this case. She doesn't get noticed on this occasion by the Doctor. The next scene is this sort of they're talking about this body that's in I don't know if it's in the lake or whatever, and it's all frozen and
it's a pond.
Yeah, pond.
That's
it.
But
they haven't actually.
They
haven't interviewed her about that yet, Kirby. But I did like that scene.
It's as much of a pond as the duck pond in Ledworth or whatever it's called.
But it's relevant, isn't it? Meanwhile, Clara has a alter ego, and that is the
hour.
What? What did you say?
No, I was saying the 11th hour with the duck pond.
Oh. I just said Clara has an alter ego, and you said that's what her alter ego is, the 11th hour. I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure she wasn't in that one. Oh, God. Anyway, she's some sort of matron.
But she's split. She is split across all of time and space. She's probably in there.
Whatever. Anyway, she's coming to she's a matron basically, and she gets interviewed, and pervy bloke that used to be in Silence says to her, "But you're very pretty." I can't say that to women. Well, maybe you could in those days. Can't now. It's called sexual harassment, especially women that look about 3/4 of your age. Right then. anyway, so she's her extremely old-looking children, especially the girl, who sort of a certain age and acting about I was going to say 15 years younger than they are. That's probably an exaggeration, so I'm going to say 5 years younger than the actual characters are, and quite stereotypical in their sort of hoity-toityness in regards to what they're wearing. You know, he's wearing like a sailor's costume, and she's wearing a sort of red frock with a
very traditional of
hat.
the era. So
I don't mind it. It's just a bit irritating.
Those children are both are really brother and sister.
Congratulations to them. Did they find that out via DNA test?
Did Kirby get a ding for that?
No.
And she played young Lily Potter in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Yes, she did.
Oh,
Yes.
Kirby, don't get a ding because I've lost my bell.
Left my dinger downstairs. Sorry.
Yes. Anyway, where do we get up to? Oh, yes, they're telling Clara that the matron was mean to them and stuff, and she was really scary.
Governess, dear, governess.
So, the Madame of Astra gets, and the lovely wife of hers, whose name I forget, invite the matron, i.e. Clara, for a little chat, and then they test her. And
Ginny Flint.
like you said, she says pond, and that intrigues the doctor. I'm moving forward a bit here.
But, and the doctor happens to be wearing Amy's glasses.
Oh dear, poor doctor. Does that hurt him in any way? No, obviously not. Right. Anyway, so I do like his costume.
No, those are the same glasses that we were introduced to in the Muppets Take Manhattan.
I don't care. Anyway,
They look familiar.
yes. So the Doctor has now changed into Sherlock Holmes' costume because he's invited himself to see Richardy as Sherlock Holmes, and of course Richardy.
The thing is that particular stereotypical Holmes costume didn't appear until the movies in like the 40s.
Yeah, that really doesn't matter again, because he's playing... Oh, for God, he's not actually Sherlock Holmes, is he? There's a little in-joke, isn't it? Because Moffat was doing Sherlock at the time that these episodes were being done. So that's just an in-joke. Stop it, Kirby, or I can't set the dog on you because he's not in here. I'll have to set somebody else onto you. Right then, as I was saying, it's...
you could give me a memory worm.
I wish I could. Right, so... Yeah, so he very soon after his arrival, Richardy tells him that Sherlock Holmes is a fictional character, and then he shows him his little snow globe. It's very, I say little, it's a big snow globe, isn't it cool? BBC could have sold a few of those for Grimbo for the following year.
What it really needed was a giant brain like the Ronnie had.
I'm going to play this bit of audio because it looks like it's going to be funny. Hang on. My volume's not going up, which makes it difficult to play. Here we go.
Everything they need to evolve. A pond. Good point, Clara. What are you doing here?
Madame Vastra wondered if you were needing any grenades.
Grenades?
She might have said help.
That was my quote.
Love it.
Wonderful.
It is wonderful.
He stole the whole thing, Strax.
He did. So, Clara's looking at the window at the Doctor, and he doesn't see her, and then she carries on with a bit more of the. These kids also remind me of them. He
does see her.
Donna's.
He waves at her.
Whatever. Donna's kids in the library one. You remember when the Silence in the Library episode? These kids are sort of a bit like that. In the way they're portrayed. It's a Stephen Moffat story from the Russell T Davies era 1, where they're stuck in this library with some very sort of strange. What you mean? You don't remember when?
You're alluding to kids. I can't remember kids.
It wasn't. It was Donna. Yeah, Donna was taken.
Yes, when Donna
was taken back, and she had kids when she was eaten by.
Yeah.
She did not watch that episode.
She had a whole life, didn't
she? Had a little five with a stuttery husband and 2 little kids.
Yep.
I don't remember that.
Oh dear.
It's been a while since I watched.
He's been holding on to a memory worm.
Yeah, Robert sat on a memory worm.
The memory worm.
No, not again.
Anyway, so next scene is they're being harassed by this rather scary thing. And what the hell is that? Sorry, I just watched
That's
the scene.
the way to do it.
What? The doctor comes in, and they're now all in the spooky house. I know, nearly said Scooby house. Spooky house together. And, yeah, I'm moving forward a little bit.
Somehow, my brain was misremembering this story as being the one where Strax talks to Tom for the navigation. But that must have been a different episode.
Ooh, I kept waiting to see it come up, and it never did.
Quite possibly so, Kirby. I remember that.
They call Clara.
Which
That's the way to do it.
Meanwhile, your previous governess is now a living ice sculptor impersonating Mr. Punch. Jenny, what have you got?
It's just when it says you've been very naughty and that stuff. It's quite.
That's
quite
the way
creepy.
to do it.
Yeah, quite
that's
creepy.
the way to do it.
Quite creepy.
That's the way to do it. Punch.
Would you want? I'm not going to have a punch at this stage. Thanks for the offer, though, Dave.
11 years ago, I started to watch some Punch and Judy shows on YouTube after we were talked about this one, and boy, it's Punch and Judy.
Violent.
Weird.
Very violent, yes.
Yeah.
There's a scene next that is probably the reason why everybody suddenly hates Clara, is because Stephen Moffat decided to write into this scene the scene where Clara grabs the Doctor and tries to snog him.
Tries to. They bloody do.
Yeah,
They goes for it.
Well, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, that's Stephen Moffat wrote that.
It's not the only time in the episode.
Yeah, but it's not Clara's fault. It's Moffat's fault for writing the scene in.
Yeah. Bloody Moffat.
Everything's Clara's fault.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Anyway, so they have a little battle with this ice creature thingy and run around the house for a bit. And
It's an
then
ice
they
warrior. No.
And then Clara falls on the Doctor, and it's all very flirty and suggestive.
I do like when the maid goes to the front door. And
Yeah.
I'm a lizard woman from, and it goes to the back door, and there's Strax.
Anyway, so the Doctor and Clara head towards the TARDIS, and somewhere along the line, Clara falls off after the tour and it's smaller on the outside and that stuff. She falls and hurts herself. It stung a bit as she was lying on the floor in the fake snow.
Clara falls down to the ground.
Yeah, you know what? When she was lying there on her back, looking up, with her hair perfectly arranged around her head, she could have done a little snow angel, couldn't she?
As well.
She could have done a snow angel or something. That would have been quite cool.
The way she falls is the same way as she falls when she's going through the timelines. She falls exactly the same way. So I wonder if they even had her do it both times,
Yeah, maybe
or
so.
if they changed.
Oh, that might have been a little tie-in, Mary.
Her clothes, yeah.
That might have been a tie-in.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
This is a great episode with Clara and
yeah, Doctor starts sulking a little bit. To be fair, and actually moves the TARDIS into the room where Clara's fading away, and yeah, I'm trying to skip forward here because there's lots of stupid bits of conversation. Richard E is really sulking still, and the Doctor is really cross, so he gets this tin with a London Underground map on it, and he then
Which was cool. I mean, I like that. It's
Yeah.
one of the few things I like about
that,
this
yeah.
one.
And he thinks he's foiled everything, and
That's the way to do it.
reaches into the mind, because it's obviously he's the little boy. Richard, he's the little boy, and he was sort of taken in by the great intelligence. So the Doctor does some stuff to the great intelligence, the memory worm, that's it, and thinking that would cure everything. But it didn't. And Ian McKellen's voice changes a few times. We've got to mention this into all sorts of different voices. And then
when he's being the boy,
Richard E freezes a little bit and starts attacking people. And the only way the Doctor's going to be safe, because he's freezing the Doctor's face, is by intervention from Clara and a bit of salt from her tear.
Well, I wonder. Wait. I wondered about this because Madame Vastra draws her sword, and all I can think of is, okay, get him with your sword. But she just kind of stands in the background.
Just trying to sort of just looks a bit tough, doesn't she?
Yeah. I don't know what the point of the drawing of the sword if she's not going to use
To
it.
make her look cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then it starts raining.
I'd love to cosplay as her.
It starts raining. Obviously, Clara's done something and saved everybody, and the doctor goes
If
up.
she saved the world, as the doctor says, salting the earth is probably not a good way of doing it.
No, not really.
Right.
Anyway, she snuffs it by saying something.
Run, you clever boy,
and
remember?
remember. Yes, and then he has the little great
Sorry,
intelligence.
I did that with so much emotion, didn't I?
And he then has some flashbacks because he recognises Clara's voice, as because she mentioned about she could she could make souffles and stuff like that, didn't she? And that sort of.
We've got a kitchen. I like making souffles.
Yeah, when she was in the TARDIS, she did indeed say this. And then he realises there's something odd about her and decides that that's his next mission, to go and find Clara. He feels there may be another Clara about. And well done, Doctor, because indeed there was. So, there we go. That is
everywhere.
That is the episode we call The Snowmen. Right, okay, I did sort of take the mickey out of it a little bit, didn't I? But on the whole, I found it quite good fun because I think if you take Strax out of this episode, it probably would have been pretty rubbish, to be fair. But having that comedy element, it was a Christmas episode, wasn't it, this one? So I felt that really did Christmas it up a bit, probably more than some of the other Doctor Who. It's certainly better than the previous one, or was it? I can't remember. What was the previous one? Was that the one with the fish?
Muppets Take Manhattan.
No, the
previous
Christmas one.
The Christmas one.
Oh, the Christmas one.
That was a fishy one, wasn't it? That was actually quite good.
No, the one before this was the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh no, yeah, that's definitely better than that one. Couldn't get much worse.
Stop taking his thunder again.
Who? Robert was saying it. Apparently you were saying it, Robert. But for the first,
I was saying it.
I'm just saying. But apparently you were saying it, Robert. But for the first time ever, Kirby was very insistent on stealing your thunder.
Yeah.
Never happened before. So cherish the moment. Right. Anyway, so like I say, I did take the mick out of it, but I did enjoy the story. To be fair, it was very pretty. I do get fed up, like I've said before, with it's a Christmas episode. Oh, we must have snow. Whatever happens, it's got to appear somewhere in it because it's make it more accurate. Let's have mud, bit of mud, because that's what we actually do see at Christmas. Mud.
Glorious.
So yeah,
At least it was
quite
dark
good fun.
most of the episode as
To be
well.
perfectly honest, I quite like Clara, so I quite enjoy it. I think Jenna Coleman she's got so much screen presence that I could just
Jenna
sit there
Louise.
with the sound turned off and just watch her for an hour. And on the whole, yeah, I
Why'd you
quite
have
like
the sound turned off?
it was that strange. I was joking. Debbie. What's that strange band of people with Strax, the Silurian woman, and that woman who's married to the Silurian? What's that?
Paternoster Gang.
Paternoster Gang. I like them. So, and on the whole, it was quite good in my view. You lot all hate it. I don't care. It's over too for the first time in a long, long time because it was usually it's only when just me and Kirby are doing the episode. It's over to Kirby. What did you think?
I was less impressed with it this time than 11 years ago.
Oh dear.
It's been a long time since I've seen this one.
Yes.
A very long. I don't think I've seen it in 11 years.
Right.
And it's okay, but
there we go. I'll go with that.
It is so Moffat. It
is indeed.
It is. It's just parts of it are practically unwatchable, but it does have the Paternoster Gang, which is what helps in. Good! I just finally spotted the sphere inside one of the snowmen. I liked the references to the London Underground and stuff, and the sphere from Obama.
What Obama? I didn't. Well, the president was anyway. Or was it a different? Was it Michelle Obama?
It's okay. It's not one of the better ones. And I'm going, oh no, Clara died.
Clara dies more times than Rory.
But as I was saying earlier, after this we started speculating
if they were the same
going to
person.
start dying every single week.
We did.
And she didn't.
No, she didn't. Right. Oh, was that it?
So far, her first two appearances, she died.
Yeah. I don't think she dies that many more times, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't think she dies any more
She
times.
does. She dies one more time when a raven gets her.
Oh dear.
No, she doesn't exactly die. She lives forever.
Yeah,
She sort of dies. And then she lives forever.
She lives forever.
Hey, more Clara living forever.
With me.
With you?
What?
What would Mrs. Kirby say about that?
Yes, Mrs. Kirby. Oh dear. Right then. Okay, thank you, Kirby. I presume you're done.
Basically, yes.
Basically, that means yes then. Okay, right then, see what we've got coming up.
I reserve the right to interrupt other people.
You do? Oh, hang on. Damn, hang on, we've got technical issue. That's better.
Adam, you've got quite a few comments on the live
I'm
feed.
bloody reading them now. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hang on, I've got to move this out of the way.
You told us to remind you.
No, I did not. Why does it say community standards on it? Right then, so what we've got here. Adam, you're quiet on the feed. Lillian Robin, hi. And Billy Kirkbright saying that he couldn't be bothered to come to the Isle of Wight. And Terry Miles saying it's okay now. Lillian Robin, snowmen, not snowman. That was not at all pedantic. Jason Chuang says, hey everyone, just wanted to say hello, hope everyone is doing well. And well, speak for yourself, Jason. And then he says, cannot stay long, just wanted to wave and say hello and bye. Well, bye then. And then he says, great episode, by the way. What, this or The Great Escape? No, what's it called again? No, it's called The Snowmen, whatever it is. Yeah, I was thinking of Great Intelligence. Yes. Then Ian Kirk says Eccleston was in G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe, yeah, he was the movie. Yeah.
Oh, hang on, I've got to find my jingles folder. I'll put it in all alphabetical
Great
order
Intelligence Joe, okay.
Yeah. What are you on about?
That's what I said before.
Okay, anyway, next one.
Lines, Robert.
The next one is this. This sounds a bit dodgy, actually. Yeah, Tim Drury says, I'm seeing Billy Kirkbright on Tuesday. Hope Mrs. Kirkbright knows about this, Tim.
Yeah.
Me, Mrs. Billy.
It's not on a public platform to post information like that. And then Lillian Robbins says, I want to cosplay Clara.
Cool.
Thank you. Somebody agrees with me that Clara is cool.
No, I just agree that the cosplaying of Clara should be fantastic.
If you said that means you agree with me that Clara is cool. Right, so I presume Kirby's posted a request for feedback. Oh, hang on, have we done everyone?
You haven't done Mary, you haven't done Robert, you haven't done me.
That's like I bamboozled myself because I did Kirby first. Right then, Robert, what did you think?
Could somebody please explain what happens? Clara
Right, what
dies,
happened was,
and
right?
that somehow saves everything, does it?
Yes.
Because she's crying.
Yes.
Because she's tied to right at the beginning, he realises she's tied to what the snowmen are doing, and he makes her wish that they melted, and they do, and he kind of guesses she's something to do with it, but he's not sure how. It's not.
And it's a silly Moffat story.
Yeah, it's not explained very well, but the Doctor works it out pretty quickly at the beginning.
Yes.
Because I mean, I have to admit, like Kirby, I hadn't seen this since it originally aired, and I was nodding off during it, to tell you the truth.
I think if you look at it in the larger scheme of things, the reason why Clara is connected to the Great Intelligence and has this sort of power that she doesn't realise she has is because of her splintering. So there's part of the Doctor's need, her need for the Doctor to survive, and she's unaware of some of these things, and that's one of the first one that's come about. She's saved him and the world because she's a splintered Clara. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you, Debbie?
Like the Jaggeroth.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Splintered in time.
Yes. Sorry, where did we get up to? It's you.
It's Moffat,
Robert.
isn't it?
It is Moffat.
It's a Moffat story.
It is.
And I'm just realising why I sort of hate this period of Doctor Who, and it's just, Moffat's really writing for the wrong show here. I think he wants a comedy show, and why doesn't he have his own comedy show instead of Doctor Who? It's like everything gets treated like a joke. Everybody's joking around. I mean, it's funny,
It's Christmas.
but
Well, Doctor Who has always had injections of humor. The doctors, always been wiseacres.
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't really like it.
It's okay.
It's all right.
I mean, even I finished watching Nightmare of Eden today because I'm going through the season 17 set.
Oh, cool.
And Tom Baker and going into the CET machine or whatever it was, getting attacked by the mandrills. My fingers, my arms, my legs, my everything. And it's just, that sort of stuff. I don't like it in Doctor Who.
Never mind, Robert. It's okay.
It was just painful. And I found this episode quite painful and like
It's fine.
It's okay.
Moffat could stick to being serious and not like treat everything like it's a big joke and everything's offhand.
The doctor was being serious.
Oh, who's
The doctor was being
It's Adam.
serious. He was so grumpy at the very beginning.
But yeah, I don't know. Didn't really enjoy it, but there you go.
Is that it, Robert?
Yeah.
Right, okay, thank you very much. Right then, Debbie!
I'm going to cause a bit of controversy and say I thought this episode was a cracking Christmas episode.
Well, there
You've
you
got
go.
everyone's chewing the scenery, everyone's one-upping each other in the
And
joke.
they ended up with diarrhea after.
But I watched this while I was doing a truckload of washing up, and I was laughing
Washing
most
up?
of the way through
How
it.
much did you have?
Oh, quite a lot.
I started watching this two
Our
nights ago and
dishwasher's
fell asleep.
broken.
Oh.
I fell asleep trying to watch this 2 nights ago.
Yeah,
There
well,
you
you're
go.
not
That's-
me.
that was me
And,
tonight.
I like the use of the music from the beginning. The music was pretty good and pacey, kept it going. I've always been a sucker for something scary like a snowman, something innocuous being turned into something
It
deranged.
wasn't really
And
scary.
welcome to the Moffat era.
It is for a
Yeah.
kiddie when their snowmen suddenly have big teeth. But I thought they were brilliant because they didn't do anything. That's why I thought it was funny. Because they just chomped their teeth at people and that was about it.
They ate all the workmen at the beginning.
Yeah, but you didn't get to see that.
You wanted to watch the gore.
Let's see one of them
Limb from
following
limb,
someone
yeah.
or something, It would have been later Doctor Who would have shown a bit of that, But this was perfect Christmas viewing when it first came out because I watched it the first time. I've actually watched this a few times since because it's one
I
that
like how you say I watched this the first time. Yeah, everybody watched it the first
11.
time.
Yeah, when it first came out, I watched this the first time round. And Isla's since watched it. Isla knows when I'm walking through the house and just going, a grenade! She knows exactly what to do.
Yeah.
It just is there. And as Robert's on, I'm going to have to come up with something for my different ending goodbye, so it might be that from now on. And I really, really quite liked it, but I also really liked it because Clara died. And I have a big problem with it becoming the Clara show for the next umpteen.
Exactly.
Because it's the Doctor, it's about the Doctor, but it's become more and more about the companions, and then it draws back and it becomes about the companions again, and we are back in full let's talk about the companions' point of view perspective. But the Doctor gets effectively sidelined.
Exactly.
And I don't like that, and this is the introduction to when it's at its worst. And when we put it back with Bill, then Nardole joining, it's juxtaposition every time. So I'm dreading to think if we're going to be companion heavy or are we going to be Doctor heavy in the new ones that are coming. But this was a cracking bit of escapism, cracking bit of telly, and I don't really care that no one else really liked it because it helped me get through some washing up.
Well, when we talked about this one 11 years ago, I told everyone, I've seen this one like 5 times.
Wow.
Apologies to the listeners for banging in the microphone. Sorry. Got it?
Done. Yeah.
All right. I'll just apologise to the listeners because I knocked the microphone quite heavily with the palm of my hand when I went to scratch my nose and This happens.
Your nose isn't where your microphone is, surely.
Well, no,
Yeah.
and my hand isn't.
Don't call me Shirley.
My hand is by the mouse, which is next to the microphone. So when I lifted my hand up from the mouse, it went hit the microphone. Simples. Okay, everybody, it's time for the highlight of this piece. It's Mary.
Well, going back 11 years, which is when I last saw it, I had no or ideas about the new companion, except that she was, as Adam said, she is very good camera material. So I was open to seeing how she would work out. And so as we're redoing these episodes, and like Deb, I dread what's coming. But right now, I'm trying again to be, kind of fresh, because that I have a new appreciation for this and the following episodes. Things that I let my negativity get in the way of. I'm hoping that I can, maybe temper that a little bit. I don't know. We don't want to look forward to the next year of Mary going blah blah.
No, that's fine.
And there is a lot to like about this episode.
You've got to come at it with a fresh approach, because all Mary and I have been dreading is this part of the journey. And looking at it fresh eyes is going to be interesting.
It's like a poster at the top of the hill there, Now, the new opening graphics, I really like those, with the doctor's face and all that. So I thought that was a nice improvement. The appearance of the Paternoster gang is enjoyable still, especially Strax, of course. He's so much fun in this episode, and I know more, that's going to come of that, until the days I start hating the Paternoster gang. Okay, but until I really enjoyed it. I liked the story. I was rolling with it until the Clara and Doc kiss. And all the obvious flirting that goes up after this. I mean, it's just, it's nonstop after that. And that, for me, got in the way of the total enjoyment of this episode. Because I want Doctor Who, like he was with Amy and Rory, a good friend, but that's it. I don't want him to have a girlfriend. And the new TARDIS has been redecorated. I don't like it. I don't like it.
You knew that was coming.
So on a scale of 10, I would take it to about a 7 or 8. Just spoiled for those few things that I mentioned. Yeah.
Oh, was that it?
And let me be clear. I do like this interior of the TARDIS, but I like the one before better.
Yeah, I like the one before way better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just say something to add to what Mary said?
No.
From the outside.
He always takes that seriously, doesn't he?
Go on then.
Always takes it seriously.
Mary said approaching it to fresh. I am trying to do that. And like when we watched A Town Called Mercy, I was thinking, I remember not liking that episode, but we watched it again, and I actually did.
Yeah,
so I am
too.
trying
I
to do
liked
that
it a
going
lot
into
better.
this.
So so we're working on it. We're working on
it. It's a therapy, group therapy.
Yes. Well done. That's exactly it.
I liked The Town Called Mercy a lot better with this most recent watch, but I liked The Snowmen a lot worse this time.
Exactly, yeah.
Maybe you overdid it the first time round with 5 watches.
I had forgotten about the kiss entirely.
Oh, not just the kiss, though. I mean, it goes on. They do, the way she lands on him on the roof and the way they look at her and all that. I mean, it's like, stop it already.
Get off it.
I don't remember that. So after this episode, I don't remember an awful lot of this sort of interactions between the Doctor and Clara, to be fair. Especially when the Doctor decided it was time to regenerate. Right. Is that it, by the way? Are we moving on?
Yes.
Moving on.
Okay, right then. Kirby.
Yes, there's not a whole lot. There's Brandon Moore.
No, don't worry about Brandon. We're not going to, even just because he sent something through via email.
Well, he says BU trying to get back to doing audio.
Yeah.
Captain Kirk's feedback,
yes,
and Terry Miles
again. So don't worry about that. That's the end of that then. Right then, Debbie, you have some stuff to read.
When these people say these things, it's in addition to their audio or whatever.
You reckon? Right then, Debbie.
Yes.
Go on then.
It's snowing, so this must be a Christmas show. Ah, Richard E. Grant. Didn't he play the Doctor?
Twice.
Is that the voice of Sir Ian McKellen? Ah,
Yes.
the gang's all here. Strax is brilliant in this one. Dan Starkey's timing is excellent. Silence, girl. Sorry, boy.
Yeah.
Why is the TARDIS hanging above the garden and invisible? Clouds you can walk on. It never happened before or after. GI, the great intelligence. That might reoccur sometimes. The Doctor is suffering the loss of the nose and the legs. Sir, please don't noggy me.
Yeah.
Oh dear, is that a map of the London Underground for 1967 on that box?
Yep.
So now the Doctor is going to search for Clara Oswin Oswald. Next up, Bells of St John, Linda and Terry.
Yes, well, thank you very much.
I was reminded when I listened to us 11 years ago, a couple of days ago, that my girls just absolutely were laughing up a storm at the noogie.
Please don't noogie me, sir.
Yes, just, apparently we had to rewind the section 3 or 4 times because they kept laughing through it.
Oh, no.
Right, no, thank you for that. Got this, came through.
Ouch.
Good evening, 20 Megabyte Podcast.
Very quietly.
Mr. M here with some audio feedback.
With some very quiet audio feedback, which means I've
Can't
got
hear him.
I know, you know what it means now. He's done a what Andy used to do, sent it through and it's ridiculously quiet, so I'm going to have to download it and do some skullduggery with it.
Some
because I'm
jiggery
clever that way.
pokery.
Yeah, jiggery pokery. So
Jiggery.
yeah,
I
right.
failed Hullabaloo.
So while that's happening, here's a bit of this.
Well, good evening, 20 Megabytes. Hop along the knee here. It's Sunday afternoon. It's nice and sunny out there. I thought I'd just get
It's
into
time to
this
take a
before
nap.
Dawn sticks a needle into me to stop blood clotting. God, the great joys of being injured. Anyway, yesterday I stood up to do the ironing. I can't really sit down for very obvious reasons, and watched the Snowmen. And yeah, it's enjoyable. I mean, it's a bit of a hybrid one, isn't it? You know, it's half of it is comedy, and there is some very good comic touches. You know, with the way the Doctor meets Clara and the thing in the sky with Strax and the Paternoster gang. You know, it's some of it is played for laughs, but it's humour that does fit in well. And if you could enjoy the humour, you can ignore it completely. The story still moves along. Yeah, Killer Snowmen. That's a new, isn't it? They're quite evil snowmen as well, with the teeth that bite, and it's. Never quite understand exactly what the great intelligence, as we find out it is actually going to do and how it's going to achieve its ends. But I suppose then we do realise that it actually continues in the Bells of St John, so it's perhaps it's opening things up. And I honestly can't remember what happens in the Bells of St John, so whether these plot holes get closed down or not, I know not.
Well, you'll find out.
But it goes along. It's meeting the second incarnation of Clara. Where she dies, and you think at the end, again, I've forgotten she died at the end of it. Spoilers! Before we meet the third one, you see that very briefly in the next time episode. And yeah, it starts to set things up. I think you can see the cross-reference going back to the original Clara, or original Clara one, I don't know. With the way when she was a Dalek, and there's things that she does there, things that does the same, things she does differently, and she's a very feisty character, isn't she? You know, certainly she's got that trait all the way through the various different bits that we see. You know, quite happy to stand up for her own right. You know, I think she'd have got on very well with Sarah Jane, probably got on very well with Tegan and with Leela, I think. Probably not as bloodthirsty as Leela, but certainly someone who wasn't going to take no for an answer, and certainly was quite happy to stand up to men, and in between what the age he was in, the sort of Victorian age, something that perhaps it shouldn't be doing. But I think the Doctor certainly got an eyeful when she was sitting on top of him at one point in time, and that then she was quite decorous when she said, he must go to the ladder in front of her. And then you get this like, take your clothes off. It's like,
I forgot about that. I wouldn't have even dreamed of looking up that way.
She's not backward at coming forward, is she there? Richard E. Grant is quite menacing, because then he suddenly goes back to be sharp, and suddenly he's menacing again. Of course, he crops up elsewhere. And he does recur him. I think he plays that sort of character very well, and he's got the looks for it, the cheekbones, and that stare of his that we put in. He does carry it on quite well. Great intelligence, yeah. I mean, you got the bit with the underground map, which was obviously a big clue to what's going on. Again, that could have been a comic touch in its own right, and then it actually become relevant. And I don't really think that bit quite came off, though. Though again, as I said, Christmas stories are meant just to be entertainment rather than to be a story in their own right. I mean, how many of them really have been, carried a storyline onwards? They're standalone one-offs. That's what they're meant to do. But all in all, did thoroughly enjoy it. It passed an hour, and it kept us going, as I remember, between 6A and 6B. Just fill that little gap, and then we set it up to the Bell St John, and you can see what's coming afterwards. And I think, from that point of view, did a good job.
Yes.
Oh, and Adam,
yeah.
Congratulations. Have you done your first nappy yet? You seeing it?
No, I'm in a queue to do nappies. In the hospital today, Deb was offered the part, but Carl insisted on doing it himself. So
good for him.
They don't smell at that stage, thankfully.
I think it was a wee. I don't know. I'm not bothered. I'll do it. If someone requires me to do a nappy, I'll do it. But I don't think I'll be first in the queue because everybody else wants to do them. What is this? Backwards on newborn baby.
That's all right, isn't it?
So when it happens, it's fine. The equipment's there, and the boys are much easier to change than the girls that I have done in the past. Right then, so this is going to be attempt number 2 at Brandon Moore's feedback of increase the volume of the feedback by 300%. Let's see how that pans out.
Good evening, 20 megabyte podcasters.
Still
it's
quiet,
Mr.
isn't it?
M here with some
It's
audio.
better.
It's still too quiet. Right then, so I'm going to
No,
Hey,
it's
we
fine.
can hear it.
I can hear it.
Yeah, it sounded fine.
It was fine.
It was fine.
Right, okay, let's start again then.
What?
That's me playing around with
He was
the
rewinding, don't worry.
It's quite good, isn't it?
Right,
Right, anyway, right, yes.
Take
Brandon
9.
Moore, take 3.
Good evening, 20 megabyte podcasters. It's Mr. M here with some audio feedback. It's been a long while since I've done any audio feedback, but it's been a long time since you've been recording regularly. I guess I want to try and get back into the habit.
Good.
The Snowmen by The Feast of Stephen Moffat. This is a great Christmas episode. Clara is brilliant in this episode. The Victorian nanny version of Clara is definitely the best version of Clara. And I know it was at one point the plan that she would continue on throughout the rest of this series and presumably beyond, and I think it's a shame that they changed that plan. Jenna Coleman is hot and also in this episode. She plays both the Claras really well, but the Mockney accent is a little bit irritating.
Yes.
But aside from that, she's really great, really engaging character. You're rooting for her the entire episode through. The concept of the Doctor retiring and sulking on his cloud is great. I kind of find it hard to believe that just... Why would he choose to settle in that time period if the Paternoster gang are there? Surely he'd rather pick a time where he didn't know anybody, but hey, maybe subconsciously he knew that he wanted to find something to pull him back in. Speaking of the Paternoster gang, I think they work best in this episode. Vastra being cast as a Sherlock Holmes inspiration is a really good idea. Strax is at his funniest in this episode without becoming an annoying cliche. They work very well as a team as well. I may have mentioned this story already, but Dan Starkey actually wrote to Doctor Who magazine prior to this episode being recorded saying Strax should come back and he should be Vastra and Jenny's butler, and that's how the whole thing got started. The idea of the Snow as monsters, great. The idea that Snow remembers, bit odd, but okay, great. The Snowmen forming themselves up and attacking as an army, also great. And this episode was broadcast the same year that the John Lewis advert featured snowmen who moved when people weren't looking at them, kind of like a cross between the snowmen in this episode and the Weeping Angels. So it was very much of the zeitgeist at the time. The fact that the monster turns out to be the Great Intelligence at the end of the episode is a nice twist. Bit odd that the Doctor doesn't remember having encountered the Great Intelligence before, but hey, I can't remember what I did 2 weeks ago. This is 9 lifetimes ago. Well, 10 if you include the War Doctor. Of course, it might take a little bit of memory jogging to fully recall it. I'm not a big fan of Richard E. Grant, especially his performance in this episode. It's a little bit stiff at some points. Ian McKellen as the voice of the Grey Intelligence was a great little Easter egg surprise for Christmas. We don't think his casting was announced at all beforehand. I also really like the kids that Clara is nannying. They were originally... when Clara was supposed to stay on throughout the series, those children were the ones who were supposed to turn up in the Neil Gaiman episode, Nightmare in Silver, and they would have been a lot better because Artie and Angie, the characters we got instead, were not great. These were really good child actors, so it's a shame that they didn't recur at any point. Of course, Clara dies at the end. She goes splat, just like Amy Rory did last episode. Only they're not really dead. Who says Stephen Moffat can only reuse his ideas? But the moment that Clara died, I knew we would get this ending where there's another Clara in the modern day who just happens to wander through graveyards, because that's never explained.
Hey, I wander through graveyards.
I do too.
There have been a lot of rumours that at the time that we would go straight from this episode to the new series starting in January, but obviously we had to wait till Easter. It's good. This episode is the only time we have a Christmas special in the middle of a series. It does really well with that baggage and of having to introduce a companion, but a companion who we've seen before. It's got a lot to deal with, yet it remains standalone. It's accessible, I think, for a Christmas Day family audience. The Memory Worm is great fun. It's light. It's got everything that you need in Doctor Who, and I would give this episode a 9 out of 10.
Ooh.
Next time, evil Wi-Fi.
Well, thank you very much. That's Brandon Moore, everybody.
Thank you, Brandon.
There's only one problem with his doing it as audio. I miss being able to read his typos.
Oh dear.
Shame,
innit? Shame. Well, anyway.
Hello, 20 Megabyte Podcast is in Kirk.
G'day, Captain.
The Snowmen by Stephen Moffat. Shall I fetch the Memory Worm? Snowmen are cool. So is the cold open.
Yes.
Clara works at the Rose and Crown. Might be a reference to the first New Who companion.
Ah.
The Doctor's coach is a car phone. We are never told where the telepathic snow came from, but it is a TV science fiction fantasy TV show.
No, you got that wrong.
Clara's shawl appears and disappears, but she is the impossible girl.
True.
Nice to see the Paternoster gang again. Richard E. Grant has previously been the Doctor twice. Clara can do the voices of Mary Poppins and Dick Van Dyke.
Yes.
Spoiler, Clara has been scattered through space and time, like Scaroth in the Fourth Doctor episode City of Death. So, like other New Who companions, she becomes one of the most important people in the universe. The family are crying for the dying Clara, and their salty tears melt the telepathic snow and dissolve the great intelligence, because all you need is love. Again, he should have used Yetis. Yeah. Bye for now.
Sounded like a little bit of a rant there.
I'm surprised he didn't embed some Beatles right there.
All you need is...
Yeah, there was a thought of doing that, I would imagine. But then, of course, Parlophone Records might get them. All right, shut up.
Love is all.
All right, shut up. Right then, before we move on
Adam, you need some love by the sounds of it.
Be quiet. Anyway, so I thought I almost forgot to thank everybody for, on behalf of Alicia, for the congratulations on the birth of Grayson, Keith, Basil, Quinn, who was born yesterday at about 4:00 in the afternoon.
Bless.
And is truly beautiful.
He's
lovely and
gorgeous.
cuddly too, and he just makes these little squeaky baby noises, and he opens his eyes, and he opens his eyes, and he looks like he's got a great intelligence. Oh, he does that. I posted a picture that Kyle. I posted a picture that Kyle took of him yesterday, or this morning, I should say. And bear in mind, he's not even a day old, and he probably has got wind, but he's beautiful. I did touch a bit of scabbiness.
Babies that come out the sunroof aren't all squished up.
I know, but he's beautiful. Anyway, so he's gorgeous. Alicia's suffering a bit because she's had a great big hole cut in her to let him out. So she's a bit sore. It's quite warm in the hospital at the moment, so, and they don't have aircon in the maternity unit, so she's quite hot and uncomfortable.
Was awful. When I had Isla over bank holiday, May bank holiday, it was the hottest May bank holiday we'd had in years.
So she's a bit uncomfortable. But other than that, mother, baby and daddy doing fine, and we're all gooey because we love him so much. He's so beautiful. Even Isabella went gooey, who doesn't have babies.
Wow.
She's the one that held him for the longest, even though she was a bit awkward on the first one before Carl made a slight adjustment to the hold, and she's smitten as well. So thank you everybody for your kindness.
So you didn't see the carnival last night instead?
Proud Grandad. Well, the ironic thing was, obviously both Isabella and Alicia were carnival. Well, Alicia was a carnival princess twice. Isabella was a carnival princess twice. Alicia was a carnival queen and a carnival princess, and they invited them all back for this tribute to Bob Hammond, who used to run Cowes Carnival and build the floats, these beautiful floats over many years. He passed away last year, I believe, and so they wanted to do this big tribute, so they invited anybody who had been on the float back. But unfortunately, Alicia had a certain excuse.
Yes,
but
good excuse.
When these pictures are posted today of us with Grayson were up, Lynn Hammond liked them, and some other people made a comment that what a perfect day to be born on the day of the tribute to Bob Hammond. So I don't think that's the reason why it happened, but it was a nice excuse to not do it. Isabella, on the other hand, was working, so she couldn't do it, but she was disappointed to miss it because she was at work. So that's a little mention of Cowes Carnival. I can't remember how we got into that, but anyway, I was going to try and segue into Doctor Who News. Oh yeah, before I go, I'm not too sure whether to do the what we watched this week because my head's not quite in the right place. I have been watching stuff, but it hasn't really properly been sinking in, and I'm not quite sure whether I will do it anyway. I'll try and see what I can remember that I've watched. But at the moment, we're doing Doctor Who News. So series 1 to 4. Oh, that might be quite good. A series 1 to 4 remastered Blu-ray, a newly remastered Blu-ray box set of series 1 to 4 of Doctor Who is to be released.
But it wasn't. Album again.
Yeah, but it wasn't originally broadcast in HD, was it?
Yeah.
But it wasn't filmed in HD either.
Why are you talking over each other?
It. They already put it out, and now they're trying to sucker people in to get it out again. Why didn't they do a good upscale the first time?
And also, they better put some extras on it. I was disappointed watching the Snowmen because recently I've been trying to bring together all the modern Doctors in sets. And a couple of years ago I got Matt Smith's set, and it's got no extras on it. So I pulled out my original Snowman, and it has the prequels on it. Okay. The Great Detective and something else. That disappoints me. And so are they going to put the extras on this or not?
I don't know. I'm just saying what's in the news.
They're useless.
Anyway, Evolution of the Toy Dalek is a book by Alex Storer with
it's free,
a few others.
Know.
Yeah, but it looks really cool.
It's very good. I've had a look through it already.
The book can be downloaded free from 70 website.
They put out some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Season 20
pretty
Blu-ray.
Good book, but somebody reckons there's bits missing in it.
Okay. Season 20 Blu-ray.
Being a digital book, it can be upgraded. So.
Okay. Thank you. Season 20 Blu-ray release date confirmed, and that release date is the 18th of September 2023. Doctor Who Magazine, issue 594.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't pre-order that one here yet.
Okay, don't care.
We can
on
pre-order.
Amazon.
I have pre-ordered Well, it's on some Amazons, but it's not available
good grief.
for Americans.
Amazon, do it through Amazon UK.
But then I can't watch it.
Then you got to pay all that shipping.
Yeah, and I did pre-order the Underwater Menace.
Right, okay.
Ah.
Back to the feed. Billy Kirkbright says, I found Wi-Fi briefly. Adam, I'd have loved to come to the Isle of Wight this time, perhaps next time. And there will be a next time. Okay, well, thank you. I hope so, eh? Right then, Doctor Who Magazine 594 features the 14th Doctor, as played by David Tennant, who appears to be in virtually everything on TV at the moment, including a series called Good Omens. Still up for watching past episode 2. People have told me, like myself, it's been difficult getting past episode 2 of that particular series. Underwater Menace animated Blu-ray release, the Doctor Who story, Yay. Underwater Menace. What? Oh, sorry. Will be released this autumn on DVD and Blu-ray. The 2-disc set contains the 4th season story, first broadcast in 1967, as well as special features.
Is there a release date yet for that?
No, doesn't say a release date.
It just says autumn, doesn't it?
Yeah, but like I said, I've been able to pre-order this one,
Okay,
but
well,
there's no release date.
Yeah. Telos celebrates 60 years of Doctor Who. That's just Telos Publishing is celebrating 60 years of Doctor Who with a range of new titles, which I'm not going to go through. What else we got here? Deluxe illustrated edition of Rose is to be released. The BBC Books have announced that the novelisation of the first story of Doctor Who's 2005 revival, Rose, is to be released in a special illustrated version. Oh, that'd be it's like a graphic novel then.
Yeah, I recently bought the book of that.
I was going to say, I've already got
not
the
the illustrated one, but
Jill Curzon, 2023 AD, My Eventful Life, celebrating the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. Candy Jar Books will be releasing the first of a number of books marking the event, taking us back to one of the most colourful highlights the series experienced in the 1960s when the Daleks took to the big screen. They will share the memories of someone who was not only there, but was directly involved with the autobiography of Jill Curzon, who played the character of Doctor Who's niece Louise in the film Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD. So yeah, that's a bit more on that if you want to go to the Doctor Who news.net. And the Doctor Who magazine, special edition 64, is the Action Figures Essential Guide 2005 to 2023. So lots of good stuff on
already seen that.
The what? Oh.
I've already seen that.
Oh, sorry about that. God. Doctor Who News. That's it. Okay. Not going to mention the sponsors this week simply because it's exactly the same as last week. Refer to 564.
To mention them every week, though.
I do not.
Aren't we contractually obliged to?
No, there's no contract involved.
Oh, fair enough.
And they get mentioned every single week at the beginning of every single episode.
Yeah.
And I always mention them.
Actually, I think Melinda did post something quite interesting somewhere on Facebook, but it might have just been a picture of him with his family. There you go. Anyway, so yes, go to whone.co.uk where you can buy
whone.co.uk.
It's actually not that long till Christmas, especially some people might not be even listening to this episode until nearly next Christmas. Great gift ideas for your Doctor Who fans.
My God.
And Lavazi.co.uk, where of course browse it. They got such lovely stuff there.
Lavazi are bringing out the messenger bags. I can't wait.
The what?
They're bringing out new Doctor Who messenger bags.
Oh, are they now?
I've got a weekend Doctor Who bag, and that would be great.
Okay, let's see what I can do with this feature. This feature that Mary's so good at. It's what we watched this week. Now, I've been very busy for quite a while now. I've been off work, as in M&S, for the last week, but yesterday, the day before, and the day before that, had 3 consecutive weddings, which were 12-hour days on each occasion, so I'm a bit knackered. But what I have been watching, we watched that series
Sesame Street.
Be Quiet.
High School.
Right, that's it. Right, anyway, what I've been watching is there's a series on Disney Plus featuring that bloke that was in Pulp Fiction. He played...
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion, yes.
That's the one. Episode 1,
yeah.
2 and 3 quite depressing. 4 was quite good. 5, 6 quite depressing. It reminded me, I thought, hang on, this is Terror of the Zygons expanded. That's what I felt it was, really, with a bit of guns and American, a little bit of American dusting over it. We love our guns, let's shoot people.
Yeah.
That one survived that shoot. Let's shoot him again. You're an alien, not a human. Let's shoot them. Oh, you are a human. Sorry about that. It was a bit like that. Oh, hang on. Let's give what's his name with the eye patch? What's his name? Nick Fury. Let's give him the chance to be a baddie for 5 seconds. Oh, he's not. He's actually not Nick Fury. But let's use that bit of video to show that it was Nick Fury. Where it wasn't. Oh, spoilers. No, but I mean, and also the baddie, the one who played the big baddie nipper, and he goes through the whole series with this sort of tough demeanour about him, and then he gets really cross in the last episode and goes all Welsh. He's got this massive blazing argument with Nick Fury in a broad, argumentative Valleys accent. So it's little things, and of course there's other little cameos and long-term cameos featuring characters like Rhodey and stuff like that.
No spoilers, please.
Right, I'm just going to tell you now, right? It doesn't have any bearing really on the rest of that particular Marvel universe, but if you like a lot of the death count in this series is bigger than one film of all three of the Deadpool films all put together.
Well, yeah, the death count at that explosion at the end of episode 1 was 3,000.
Yeah.
Was it? I mean,
yeah.
Okay. But yeah, we watched it just to see if there was anything interesting happen. But yeah, it's not. I mean, there's some good casting in it. I have to say, Olivia Coleman is bloody superb.
Yeah. Every time she comes up when I'm watching it with the Geek Daughter, I go, she's in everything.
And she does a bit of, but she does it with an English accent.
Well, I liked it when she cut off the finger of that one.
Oh yeah. No, all right. So that's enough of that. Anyway, so spoilers. So it's worth watching. And the other thing on that subject that I watched quite recently is a new documentary about Stan Lee on Disney Plus, because there was a previous one about Stan Lee and Marvel. This is more just about Stan Lee. And it's really good.
Cool.
So that's worth watching. I can't remember what it's called now, but it's only just.
So you realize his first name probably was Stanley. So
shut up, Kirby. And also, by way of balance, it's on, if you're in the United Kingdom, it's on Sky Documentaries. It's a series about the history of DC Comics, which is also quite good. And they do credit Stanley with essentially giving them a kick up the backside to up their game somewhat. But again, that's a really, really good series. What else have we watched this week?
You said you hadn't watched much.
Yeah.
No, you haven't got to bear in mind. I've been watching the football, and obviously there was something very disappointing happened today in that department. And other stuff as well. Oh, I did actually watch another episode of Star Trek Picard. Q wasn't in that episode, so I was able to get through it all right, because I like Q. Q is just a big undo button, which makes the stories feel unreal to me. They're all doing all this stuff, but Q could just say, "Oh no, that didn't happen," and take it off. I don't like Q as a character. Sorry, never have. Never will do.
I like the actor.
Yeah. I like a couple of the Q stories when he gets his powers taken away. Those
it's a bit tiring afterwards, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just it's a godlike character that can do absolutely everything. What's the point of him being on it? And it's just Series 2. And I haven't started watching Strange New Worlds yet. I'm really keen to get on with it, but I want to be in the right mood for it. Because I had my picture taken with him, just like I say. Right
the
then.
Last season was up and down.
I beg your pardon?
Of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah,
Traitors Australia. That was fab. Right,
Yeah.
did I say I was watching Traitors Australia last time? Traitors Australia, which is actually a a series about people selling stuff because the
I watched
Australians
that
can't.
last year.
What?
Traitors, Australia.
Traitors Australia. But as I was trying to explain to you before you interrupted me, it appears to be about people selling stuff because the Australians can't say the word traitors. It becomes traders. Have you watched that series? It's very irritating.
No.
All they go on about is traders. He's a trader.
Traitors.
No, they don't say traitors. It's trader. You listen. Even the bloody presenter calls it trader.
It's like Criminal Minds International became Criminal Minds International.
Well, that's Americans for you. Right then.
Debbie's only got 10 minutes.
Oh, is she? Right.
Yeah.
9 minutes and 59 seconds. 9 minutes 58. 9 minutes 57. 9 minutes 56. 9 minutes 55. Debbie, over to you.
I haven't watched much. 10 minutes later.
Is that it?
Where's you? Yeah.
Shut up.
Ready for you.
I've just handed it over to you, Debbie.
This is what Adam's been watching. Right, that's it, everyone.
Debbie, get on with it.
Yes. I've actually caught up with a programme that's been out for a few years called Travel Man. Don't know if anyone's seen it. It's got Richard O'Idy on it, from the It Crowd, and he basically is a grumpy comedian who takes fellow comedians for 48-hour jaunts in various countries, and it's actually really good. Really enjoyed that. I also caught on Netflix John Leguizamo. I can never say his name right. His Latin history for morons. Exquisite. It's so funny because his kid was getting bullied, and he was like, "You need to find heroes, Latin American heroes," and it's so funny. He is such a comedic actor. It's brilliant. Obviously, just last thing I saw him as was Bruno in Encanto.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Strictly Come Dancing.
New Witcher, Shadow.
We can't talk about Bruno.
Yeah, we don't talk about Bruno. I tried the Queen Cleopatra that came out. Wasn't that interested in it, unfortunately. But I've been watching an awful lot of Lucy Worsley as well. Again, all her history's biggest fibs and things like that. And obviously, there's been a bit of rugby on lately, so we've been watching that too.
Okay. Robert?
Football? Do you watch the football?
Robert?
No. Don't like football, sorry.
Robert?
Even if we're doing really well, I don't like the football.
We were doing well until today. Robert?
Yes, what?
Over to you.
What have you been watching, Robert?
Let me see. I've been watching the season 17 Doctor Who Blu-ray set. So I've been enjoying the delights. Well, a few delights on there, like City of Death, obviously. But, treated myself to Nightmare of Eden. Less said about the better. But, I mean, it's got some good parts. But, Mandrels, no. And Tom Baker, no, being silly. And then I got Horns of Neiman to look forward to.
Horns of Neiman.
Goodness. But, looking forward to the 6-part version of they've done of Sharda, the new version of it that they've done. What else have I watched?
I don't know.
Not really much. I was watching Secret Invasion, but like Kirby, I'm only finished 2 episodes so far. And I've been really spreading it out. So I don't know when I'll finish that off.
Well, when you get around to me, I'll explain why I've been slow with it. But
I've been having this problem lately of watching something and nodding off during it.
What's
wrong with me? I'm getting old.
Yeah,
that's a normal thing.
I'm turning into my dad. What's going on? So that's awful. I did it watching this Doctor Who tonight. So some parts of it, like I see snatches of it, and then I was just like awake for the end, and oh my goodness, it's getting terrible. Basically between Doctor and what's been on TV, been watching The Traitors Australia because there's a new season of that started.
Oh, is there one? Look forward to that. The Traitors. Yes. I tell you what, Robert, I absolutely love The Traitors. I think it's such a brilliant concept. Just saying.
Oh, it's a really good show. I watched.
You mean The Traders?
Traitors is good. Traders not so.
I did watch the UK show last year.
Yes.
So,
well, Claudia.
So I've seen them both, and watching that. I think we're about halfway through or something of the Australian season 2.
Yeah, we don't know spoilers because it hasn't come here yet.
Well, it's not much I could tell you. You wouldn't know anybody on there anyway. So, But yeah, should be looking forward to that tomorrow night, or tonight, I should say. It's now Monday. And so besides that, not much. Basically, been surrounding myself with Doctor Who a lot.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robert. I just wanted to point out, I said about the DC documentary. It's called Superpowered, the DC story. It's really good.
I've got it ready to watch.
Yeah, I watched episode 1. Linda Carter.
3 episodes, isn't
Linda
it?
Carter. I know she's had some work done, but it's really good work. She looks gorgeous. Over
she
to
defies gravity, doesn't she?
Anybody would have thought she used to be an American super model or something like that. She's like a beauty queen or something. Gorgeous. Kirby.
Yes. Actually, I was incorrect. I've actually watched 3 episodes of Secret Invasion. It's just that's.
Kirby, can I just interrupt it? Kirby, I know you're used to doing interruptions, but I just have to interrupt on this stage. What did you just say? What did you say at the beginning of that section that you were just talking about? You just said something, didn't you?
I said that I was incorrect. I've actually seen... Oh, that's
Thank
what
you.
He's recording that.
Thank you.
That's what you were after. The Geek Daughter and I have picked that show as being what we're watching on our Friday night get-togethers, but we've been having trouble getting together on Friday nights. So we finally were able to do it. Like, it was over a month between the time we saw the first episode and
sounds like me.
Episode 2 and 3. So we'll be continuing with that. Let's see. A interesting thing has started to happen when I'm sitting down with my oldest daughter for dinners is we're now turning on BritBox and picking a Doctor Who.
Oh.
And
which one?
And she turned to me after we finished up Planet of the Spiders the other day.
Love that.
Oh, cool.
And she said, I really like classic Who.
No,
she said, I don't care that the special effects look bad. It's a good show.
Yeah.
And then she's picking them kind of at random by things that she remembers. So she wanted as she described it this way, she wanted the running through Paris.
Running through Paris.
So that's what
Kirby. When I first discovered classic Doctor Who, I was doing stories at random, because things to me, but things did not really gel for me until we started the journey and did them progressively. That it made so many things make sense. So maybe you tell her, from someone who did it her way, that it really does make better sense to do them chronologically.
Well,
it's been great to do it. It really has.
Yeah. This isn't really this is more of a random thing where we'll watch 1 or 2 episodes of something. It hasn't turned into a formal watching thing yet. It may very well.
You might be able to do a podcast off the back of it, Kirby.
So let's see, what else have I been watching? You must congratulate me because I finally have now seen all of Doctor Who.
Wow.
I sat down and finished The Wheel in Space last week.
Ooh, bloody right. Bit late. Do you want to do a review on it?
Yeah, you and Debbie did a review on it. I was gone that week.
Yeah, we watched it.
That's the reason I didn't watch it that week. I knew I was
BritBox version.
Thank you, Kirby.
BritBox version.
It was the BritBox version.
Yeah, which is a partially animated or something, is it?
No,
I thought it had some just all telesnaps. Is it?
It's basically telesnaps. It's one of the best put together telesnaps, but it's still telesnaps.
Besides the episodes that they do have, do have any episodes? Yeah, 1 or 2.
Yeah, there's 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's a 6-parter, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's see. I also watched and did a little bit of moonlighting for the Earth Station Who podcast.
Off the back of my recommendation, Kirby.
Did you?
Huh?
That's a joke,
You
by
watched
the way.
Moonlighting?
No.
Yeah.
We watched.
I like Moonlight.
We watched Doctor Who Am
Oh yeah, what did you think
Face
of
of
it?
Evil?
I've seen it.
Oh, you mean the one I advised you to watch about 6 months ago?
Yeah, it was more than that.
Right.
I first watched it in February.
It's
But
become
now
available again.
By the way, Mary, it's available to watch on Prime if you have Prime.
Oh, really? Okay, not for an
Out of
extra
Prime.
fee, because Prime is gone.
No extra fee. It is included with
I
Prime.
paid for it.
Oh, I'll watch it.
Yeah,
I
watch
paid
it.
for Prime.
No, it is good. It is
It
good.
is
Watch it.
interesting because you see glimpses of Long Island Who and Gallifrey.
Yeah, that's what I found quite interesting. I'd never
On
seen
that
what Gallifrey
note,
looks
I
like.
am going to have to say goodnight tonight, but I will be able to stay longer if we do longer next time.
Okay, thank you,
Goodbye,
Debbie.
Nancy.
Goodbye. Right, we can talk about her now. Right, what did you think of Debbie Melrose?
Okay. So yeah, Doctor Who Am I is very interesting. Some of the other people on the Earth Station Who podcast had a different take on it than I did. They thought they were focusing in on the cosplayers as being the silly people.
Yeah, I found that a bit.
Yeah.
Well, then you got to be silly.
Yeah, it's half the fun of it.
But it was also fun to watch it and go, oh, I know that person. I know that person. I've interviewed that person because Daphne's in it. And there's one point what they're doing. Well, I don't know. Some of us who've seen it understand that they managed to bring the writer of the Doctor Who movie in to go to conventions.
That's right.
And what's real, I had forgotten since February that his father was in the Gunfighters.
That's right.
Yeah.
No spoilers, Kirby?
It's been 59 years since the Gunfighters was on?
No, about the actual. You're talking, almost saying what happens in this thing we're trying to encourage. People to watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
it's about Matthew Jacobs. He used to have a bad vibes about the thing, so he's now entering fandom and getting his take on what's going on in fandom and being welcomed by fandom.
Yes.
Although I thought it was unfair when he went to that guy's house and the guy was insulting him.
Yes, but shall we let people watch it and make their own opinions on it?
But what I was trying to get to was it was interesting. There was one scene where he's talking to the camera or whatever, and you could see Andrew in the background, and I'm thinking to myself, oh look, there's Andrew, and then suddenly they start interviewing Andrew. So, but it's good. Now, what else have I been watching? Okay, those are the
you
major
could tell
things.
us.
I think those are the major things.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I've been watching Tipping Point. I'll tell you what I did watch. Prince Albert,
Tipping
Consort
Point.
and Confidant. Now, the interesting thing about that, Prince Albert was
Is he in
played...
a can?
Oh, will you be quiet? Prince Albert is played by friend of the show, Gareth David Lloyd, in that particular production. A docu
But
drama thing.
he's still in a can.
What? Mary, please rescue me.
No.
You want me to talk now?
Yeah, Andy Nunny says Billy Kirkbright. Sorry, I'll start that again. Andy Nunny says Billy Kirkbright. I'd like to have met up too, but with my knee. You have met your knee, Andy. It's sort of stuck to your leg. Right then. Anyway, sorry, Mary, over to you.
I've been watching a lot of baseball. As you know, I'm a baseball fan, but unfortunately, the team that I follow the closest, which is my Cleveland Guardians, have suffered a lot of injuries this year, and so now they're down to so many backup people that the team is just sinking in the ratings now. Yeah, so I feel like I'm just being a loyal fan of a losing team now.
I thought you were a basketball fan, Mary. I've got confused.
I can relate to that.
And in terms of watching, I've got a couple of guilty pleasures. One that I watch whenever I just want to sit back and not think about anything, and it's called Say Yes to the Dress. And I think,
oh my goodness!
I think they're the British version. Well, HBO Max has got all.
I've seen that.
I'm saying
so
that. Don't interrupt her.
Did Master do an episode of that?
I'm sorry, what?
Didn't Master do an episode of that?
No, I was on. Me and my wife were on an episode of Curvy Bride's Boutique. I'll say that again. Curvy Bride's Boutique, and an episode of Say Yes to the Dress UK.
Right. He was on the UK version.
Okay.
But HBO Max got all the seasons, so I've been watching them from the first. It's just
my
fun to
goodness.
and try on dresses and, all the drama. It's just kind of fun. My other guilty pleasure is watching, in between Hulu and Netflix, they both have most of the seasons of, it's called Hoarders, which is people, who hoard stuff in their homes, and the team that comes in trying to get them cleaned out and get them thinking straight.
Yeah.
So, because this has been a very busy summer for me, so I haven't been doing any really digging in, watching important and engaging shows.
Just silly shows.
Silly.
Yeah,
laid back
I have guilty
shows.
pleasures that I don't want to mention on this show too.
And my third guilty pleasure is I found out that
third one
has all the seasons of The Amazing Dr. Pole. He's a country vet. So I've been, tuning into his various episodes. So mostly I've been reading.
Peter Davison was on a show with vets.
Yeah.
I think that was fiction,
It's based on real life.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah, he could have been, because these are country vets doing cows and sheep and everything like like Peter Davison did in his show.
Yes.
Mostly I've been reading. Actually, right now I'm reading The Horns of Naiman.
Really? Oh my goodness.
The nice thing about reading these Target books is they give so much background to the story before the story even begins.
Yes, they flesh it out, don't they? They flesh it
know
out.
where everybody is kind of coming from, and background characters get stories of their own, that make, even when I watch it again, I get more out of it because I'm seeing and hearing, things that we normally pass over.
Yes.
Two books. I finished a very fat book, 800 pages book, science fiction, called The Dreaming Void, right up my alley. I love
Well, did you sit on it then or something?
What?
You said it was right up your alley. I said, did you sit on it or something? The book.
I love sci-fi that is all about spaceships and other planets and, battles and all that kind of stuff. So that is, that was massive. And I finally finished that. And now I'm on the second book called The Temporal Void that I've just started. So that's me. I do more reading this summer and watching, silly shows than watching anything
serious.
Yeah.
I'm reading Doctor Who, Revelation of the Daleks.
Oh.
I just finished
now that that's
reading
been novelized.
Regenerated Whoology, and which I picked up at Goodwill. And I also just got Doctor Who Slipback by Eric Sayward. And,
I saw that, yeah.
And Chris Boucher's...
that's when he pretends to be Douglas Adams.
Yeah.
Have you read it yet?
Not yet.
I tried reading Slipback, and I just couldn't get through it.
And I got Chris Boucher's Corpse Marker.
Yeah, that's a good story.
Ooh, that's another one. Yeah. They're both
I haven't
pretty
read that since it originally came out.
gruesome.
Yeah, I got them both at a used bookstore called Second and Charles.
Ah.
High-end comedy is wasted on this show, isn't it?
What is?
What?
High-end comedy.
Yeah, we heard what you said. What was the high-end comedy?
I've forgotten now. I know it was very funny, nevertheless.
I'm sure it was.
Oh dear, Adam lost the
certain it
words.
was.
Does it ever happen?
No, I forgot what I was going to say now. I just delivered the top joke I've ever told on this show.
Oh,
That is completely
so sorry. I stepped on your
completely
lines.
ignored. Never mind. Killy Burt Wright says, I've pubbed Hope Cadging Wi-Fi, and other than your knee, I have a tight schedule in London. Of course, it's awkward to read. I'd have loved to catch up and sample one of your mean curries. Shut up! One of your mean curries with a picture of a dog turd. Don't know what that's got to do with curries. It's an emoji of a dog turd, but looks at this. As mentioned previously, I'll be back, and yes, we will meet again.
Well,
I wish I hadn't started reading that one now.
There.
I really do need some glasses that work properly. It's terrible. Next week will be... Oh, sorry, you finished, Mary, by the way?
I'm finished.
Okay. Betty Kurt Bright says, just a side note, a trip to the Isle of Wight is well worth it, if only to listen to Mrs. Melrose's beauty. She's not here, you can't flirt with her, Billy. She's gone. Right then, so next time it's the Bells of St. John, another little sort of in Doctor Who joke episode, featuring somebody who used to live on the Isle of Wight called Celia Imrie. But unless anybody else has got anything else to say...
Are we recording on the 27th?
Yes, if you'd allow me to get to that bit. I did say next week. That implies that will be the 27th.
No, I did not hear the next week.
You weren't listening. People should listen. It is a podcast.
But I don't know what the next week date is going to be yet.
Oh, for goodness sake. Well, according to...
Yeah, remember, he's in the future.
Yeah, well, the episode won't go out today on the 20th, will it? It'll go out later in the week. 27th, that's when we record next, 27th of August. Yes. And it's the Bells of St. John. And
it's in my calendar.
At 7 o'clock?
If things don't get in the way, yes, it'll be 7 o'clock. Yes.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
So until then, thank you for listening, watching, taking part in the show. I do also watch Tipping Point. It's a lovely little quiz program with a bunch of thickos on it. It's really good fun. Until then, goodbye.
Goodbye, Fancy Pants.
Bye.
Yeah, sorry.
The 20 Megabyte Doctor Who podcast is an APV Services production, sponsored by whowon.co.uk and lavazi.co.uk. We are proud members of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance. Doctor Who is a trademark of the BBC. No copyright infringement intended. The music on this podcast is covered by limited online music license from PRS for Music. License reference LE0030512.